So the first thing that struck me, obviously, the color, the dark space. But then just as I entered, there was light. And that I then continued on, and there was two people, kind, offered me water, something to eat, nuts, and so the smell and the kindness and the space that was so empty when you'd come from a very busy Arno and so many people, and you come into that, was wonderful. It was astounding. I had this both perspectives, one of intricate, at times violent, but then there was also this sense of the ancient and the latent within capacity of love. And then I looked closer and I saw hope, I saw pain. I didn't see light at all. Intricate. You really had to, it almost felt like I needed more time. But the two that I particularly noticed were Fallen Angel and the dancer. This feeling of the intensity of a human being, you know, what exists within: pain, suffering, love, hope. So that was, I felt like I needed a lot of time to look at each one, but the two that I particularly loved were those two. Because I love interiors and spaces, it was beautiful from one perspective. It was just a beautiful sculpture. But it wasn't until I walked to the other side that was as if I'd transcended realms from the human experience that we have just walking to the capacity that we have to perceive light. It was astounding. It was like my soul had been released to experience that light, you know. And so from one side, that light is always there. We have it within us, but we don't always see it from the other perspective, which is just this release of light, this shining bright. And for me, it was like the soul, is that we walk around, and everyone for me has a soul, and I walk around and I see people, but it's covered with clothing, and it's not until an experience happens to them and that release happens, we see that is the capacity of a human being. So that's the feeling I had, that it's how our soul really is, but how it's perceived perhaps by everyday people. But actually within us we have that capacity. Well, light, for sure. Capacity, and the journey of the soul, which is 3 words. When I opened my eyes, it was this exquisite colors of the universe. It was like, woof, as if you're experiencing the next world, you know. And then you look closer, and there's this, you see faces, because maybe I'm having a human reaction to it. I see a lot of faces. So to me it was like the earth, that the earth is experiencing incredible turmoil, but there's for me like a divine creator that has said, this is your world, this is the color, this is the potential of your world. And yet we have a human tendency to also feel great sadness and great pain. So it was like a dichotomy of intense beauty, and yet within that there is the human experience of pain, of suffering. And then this, everywhere I saw portals, but ways that I wanted to go in but couldn't. It was like holes. So it was, for me it was the earth, but it was also this, as if there had been a divine creator that had said, this is our potential. This is the color and the light and the colors that are so intense that we can't draw them. So it had to be a divine creator. Again, it's how I see the world. But yeah, it was astounding. And my whole experience here has been like a journey of the soul. And so from the beginning, it's like you enter, it's like how I imagine it will be when I pass on. And I said to you earlier, as I get older, I think of the next world a lot. And so in the beginning, it was like the welcoming, the kindness. As your soul leaves one world, the busyness and the craziness of that world, and you leave everything behind, and it's this empty space. And then you're welcomed by kind souls. And then you go through, and it's like at each point, the beauty increases. And so you see that first little opening with the light, and there's this wow. And then it just progresses to greater and greater light and greater color. And I feel like for me, this whole experience is a journey of the soul. When it leaves the stuff that we accumulate in our lives and all the things that are not important. It was like an undressing of that. You just take that off, take off the layers, and what you're left with actually is greater depth. You're left with greater potential, but that we just sometimes don't realize we have that. Yeah, and you started with the 3 pillars, which, of integrity, faith, and respect, which in the beginning are just words, but then as you go through this journey, those words take on intense meaning, with each revelation that you see. The layers that are taken off to what's really at the core of a human being, the potential of a human being. It's like you take off all the rubbish, the stuff that you don't need, the material, to get to the essence of light that all of us are capable of. Everyone should be able to have this experience, because you're on your own, and you're able to really reflect, and it's quiet, and usually you're in a museum and you very rarely have this experience. But when you can have that experience, I think, without any distractions, and of course it's elevated by this sense, this incredible smell, the music, but even without that, the beauty is there. To have multi-medium is a great, it's fantastic, but even without it, this stands on its own. The feelings that I had, so I want to say to the artist really is that what she's done is touches the deepest core of a human being, which is their soul. She has this vision that is really, I've seen a lot of art, I've been to a lot of museums, I've seen it, but she goes beyond that, to the essence of what art should be, which is to elevate the soul. It's like when you hear beautiful music, it's a ladder from this world to the next, and her art is that. And so what that will bring when I leave here is a greater kindness, a greater sense of love, and a greater sense of purpose. And that's what art should be. It should raise a human being to greater capacities. So it's astounding. She's taken me on a journey which I think I'll take when I leave this world. But she's taken it before that point. And it has touched me to the essence of who I am. And I don't know if I've ever had that experience before with art. I've maybe a couple of times, you know, and I walked into Angkor Wat. I had that experience. But so really I'm grateful that she has reminded me of the capacity of a human being. And it's brought me to tears. And so I think I'll go out of here and it will be an abrupt change. It's like when you hear these experiences of people who leave this world and have a near-death experience, you know, I feel like they don't want to come back. And that's how I feel. I don't want to go out. I've had this vision of the capacity of our world, and of people, and of myself, and now I have to go back. But I think I'll try to carry this with me, this vision that I've seen, of beauty and of possibility and of light, and also a reminder of pain and suffering. I saw that in her art as well. So yeah, beautiful. Yeah, I mean, everyone should experience it, really, but not possible. So I'm grateful. I'm really grateful that to have had this experience. Really, this art it's almost not human. You know, you're having a human experience, which is really a spiritual experience, and that is our capacity. You know, and so I'm so grateful. You know, that I'm able to take this with me